Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It is Monday, August 5th, 2024. Welcome, everybody. What a devastating drop the last few days have had. We were prepared for a couple of them, and today was certainly in the time window of grabbing a low into tomorrow. We were talking about those. I did not expect this next move. Such a huge gap down from the catalyst over the weekend with Apple. But with that said, where do we go from here? We have some buying opportunities, and if you did not catch the lows, now you have to be patient because there's going to be some pullbacks here. Things don't just move in straight lines. So with that said, if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Center logo, and subscribe. We're going to check out SPY on the monthly all the way down to the 65. We'll go around the horn. We might do it on the daily time frame with such big moves on the Qs, IWMDIA, with the volatility breaking out and now potentially topping for now. Its price action is going to be extreme. So even though volatility is going to pull back, it's still elevated. It's still, we'll talk about it when we get there, where it might go, but prices are going to move to extreme levels. So after that extreme move to the downside, now we're going to have likely extreme move, if the low is in, an extreme move to the upside, possibly a 60 to maybe even an 80% pullback of this move. It's possible. So that's what volatility brings when it starts to break out like that, extremes up and down. So we have, let's get into it. We have SPY in the monthly time frame. By the way, we're doing this intraday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to get these intraday, consider becoming a supporter. It's 99 cents. If not, you'll get the video at 4 p.m. So let's jump into it. We have SPY in the monthly time frame, 2000 top, 21 top, and now we're forming a top now. We have been talking about the price action possibly dancing around the tops. Notice this one here in 2000. We had a top here, and it ended up being a top, but look at this pullback here. Look at this extreme pullback. I'd say that's about a 90%. Let me jump in here a little bit more. About a 90% pullback here. So if we come from the top, retracement, it's not going to be exact. To the low, that's the 88% retracement right there. So that's still a possibility. Look how much time it took. We have after the top, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months before it actually topped there again, to consider that a double top, okay, with the lower high. So that's still in the books, you guys. We have 8 EMA. The momentum is still to the upside on the monthly time frame. We came down to check that. Didn't know if we're going to make it to that level, but we are testing this box here that was previous consolidation, and so we're getting a bounce off of there right now. You see the bounce is pretty large, but after that move, that was, the snapback is quite expected. So testing the 8 EMA, we do have negative divergence and all that, so I do suspect we're going to get a large move to the downside, but how is this top going to form? That's the big question. So we have the weekly time frame. Channel top here, fake break, moving down, getting a large snapback after a massive gap down here into this, I would call a volume node there. We have good support resistance at this point. And there's a reason for that too. Did I think we're going to get down to that point? No, not really. But we had a test of that 20-week moving average. I thought it would be something like this, where we have a move off of it. but it appears if we get back above it, that it's going to have to take some work, very similar to this situation here. So you see different things happen in different ways. Back here, when you had a drop underneath the 20, never actually got back over. It had some wicks throughout the week, intra-week, but never quite got back over there until that massive snapback and then a drop back under it. So we'll have to see how this goes here. And then on the lower time frames, I'm going to show you how I think this might end up playing out. So make sure you stick around or speed this up to 1.25, 1.5, so you can catch all this information. Lots to go here. Okay, so why did we stop here? We have the Elliott wave and the Fibonacci page here that we like to look at. We have our correction here from 2021. And then we have our retracements past the 100%, goes the 127.2 and then the 162. We retrace exactly to that 127. That was a place where we traded around on the weekly time frame. It was once resistance and now support. So this 515 played a good support play here. It was tough to really buy at the lows. I bought individual names. What happens is with the volatility, the premium of options are extreme. So if you're buying, out of the money or so, they're very, very expensive. And as volatility, the VIX retraces, then your premium goes down. Even though you price might be going up and catching the bounce, you're not getting as much out of it as you possibly could. So if you're playing the indices, it's probably a better play to, even at this point, really, to use different option strategies. So yeah, but that's not for this video. So next we're looking at the time relationship at 9/1 around the beginning of September. So we'll pay attention to that as we go down to lower time frames, beginning of September, and then the next one over here. I do think that this top might be in. It's looking a little bit more like that, but with volatility being so extreme, we could eke out a new top. I just think it's less likely now that this move had, and I'll show you how I get this. We think for sure, and we said this previously, that the tech market has topped and that there's an impulse wave down. But with this looking like a three-wave move, how do we get that? I'll explain that a little bit later. And then I'll put new relationships up here to the high after today, and then we can add on to these time relationships as we get these clusters. Going down to the daily. Daily trend is our friend. All right, so here's what it looks like on the traditional technical analysis. We have our wedge, our bearish rising wedge that we filled out, dropped out of, back tested, but we were holding a geometric line here for a while. I took that off of there clearly because we broke down. Now, if we go to back test this area, this is going to be a tough area to get above. So 540 here with that gap, this is going to be a tough area because it was support for quite some time. Then we gapped under it and just fell, free fall after that. So here's a good support area here. I didn't have to update this. Now I'm going to pull it over here a little bit. I don't like to change too many things before I make the video, so I can work this out with you. And here, gap down underneath that resistance there. Just a massive gap down. So now we're retesting this zone here. So we're going to have a tough time getting over there. We might have a little bit of maybe some sort of price action here, maybe a reversal candle tomorrow, and then some sort of dip. And we'll be looking to buy that dip. If price wants to go lower, then, so be it. But I don't see that. I don't see any sort of structure that would bring us down to that level. doesn't mean it won't happen. So after this nice large move here, you may want to consider some puts. You know, if it's or lighten up your load, lighten up your trades. Let's go to our other board. So we're starting to use retracements now from this entire move here, because this move does look complete at this point with such a massive move to the downside. So now we're getting some bounce off of this 23% retracement of this entire move. And so these Fibonacci's are going to come into play throughout time. As price goes down, you have the 382, you have the 50%, and I left them green as these should be bounce or support areas. So I moved the 5 back over here. This still on the daily time frame to me looks like a 3-wave move. So you know, other people it's going to look like that as price moves up. So a lot of people are going to think it's going to go to make a new high. It could. But I am thinking that this is starting to be a different structure after that last move. Now we're into the 8-5 time cluster here. And so this is where we're looking for a low. And so I'm going to hide these now that we have gotten there. And we were expecting the 8-5. Like I said, I didn't expect this gap down into it. But where price brings us right into time, I think this might be a good low here. So our next is 8-9, and then we're looking into mid-August here, about 8-16. So we'll keep those into mind there. Let's go to the 65. And we'll go through all of SPY first, and then we'll go to a couple different indices. Okay, traditional technical analysis, looking here. Filled this gap. And that's where we're getting the bounce off of. Do have gaps below us. We have we're right above that low here. Was right above another support and gap as well. So in my own time, I'll move these over here now that we're down to those levels. So here's the possible near term that we're looking for. So this just being 3 waves here, 3 waves up. This kind of appears like 3 waves down. So our price level, and let's just go ahead and notice we're in a channel. I'm starting to draw a channel here. There's only 2 touches here, so it doesn't make it that strong. We don't have too much evidence that that is a good channel, but that is potentially a channel at this point. So going over here, we might go back and forth a couple times, but going back here is very busy. Here's our time relationships. I'll clear that up. That's 8-5. That's what we're talking about today, being a low. And then our next cluster is around 8-7, 8-8. So that's very similar. We have the 8-9 going on here too. So we'll see where price is when those time frames come in. We might get a top up here. We might get a bottom. We don't know this yet. So, but for price levels, taking this possible, if this is a wave 3, right now I have it counted as this. I have this being a 1, 2, 3 for expanding move here, 4 crossing over, and then 5. I have this as an expanding leading diagonal at this point. Now this still could play out as just a leading diagonal if this is a 3-wave move into 1 here, 2, and then 3 all the way down. So the price action here around 527 from the top of wave 3 to the bottom of wave 3, if that is a wave 3, I think that's it. We might complete here because of the time and price. But if this happens to be wave 3, then we have to watch out for this 382. So I'll draw this arrow up into this cluster into the 382, which is about the 527. So we should have a little bit of a reaction here. So possibly we get this sort of price action. If there's going to be a new low, it'd be around that 527 that we retrace. Now we're at the 23.6, so that is valid as well. It's typical for the 382, but this is a much more shallow wave 4 if it is. And clearly we don't see 3 waves in there. Difficult to work that out. So we'll see. We'll take off risk here if the 527. If price goes lower, then we'll, clearly we'll make some new targets there to the downside. And then we'll look at time relationships there. But that's that scenario. I think that the bottom may be in. So I'm looking, my opinion is that we'll keep a higher low here going into maybe 8-9. Maybe look something like this going into tomorrow. Maybe turn around Tuesday, gives us a dip. And then after that, we'll be looking for some price action. Maybe some news that from Fed speakers. Who knows? Who knows what the catalyst will be? And then we get an ABC up into 50-60% retracement. Now, that would lead us right into that channel top. So let's look at some of these levels. 527. And then 537, 544. Here's the 527 is about up here. Don't really have a resistance there. So we'll keep this as our reference there. And if this is a true channel, then maybe we get one more low there. That will be our secondary scenario. And then if we hold the low going into 8-9, and maybe we see that 544, 540, something like this, to test that channel top. So that downtrend line here. And then that will be another big area to watch out for. So this could be a simple ABC into that channel top, or into these levels, 537 to 544. But we're going to have to see if that is a larger, if there's a larger corrective scenario. This could be it. This could be an ABC, and then we head lower. And then I would consider this a impulse 1 into a 2. If not, if more time needs to happen, this could be an ABC into a larger degree A. We get another pullback because momentum is to the downside. So it might be a deeper pullback. Bigger swings because volatility is up. And then that would be a larger B. And then a higher retracement, possibly all the way up to the 887 up here. So we'll keep that in mind, but we're looking for more for a corrective move after this type move here. Okay, we're no longer looking, but we'll keep in mind that it could happen, because this still looks like a 3-wave structure. I just can't pull it together how that 3-wave structure in the long run, if that is done. It doesn't appear to be any part of this, so it'd have to be a larger degree. And I have 2 scenarios in my head, that this was going higher as a wave 4, or this is the beginning of the recessional correction. All right, so right now we're looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're looking for a correction now. Very good. Let's go to the Qs. Start off with the daily time frame. And we're working on the 200 moving average, getting a bounce off of there. This was our spot where we went long here on the trend line, clearly gapped down underneath it. Only had 2 points there, so not a serious trend line. Should have took that into account. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. And now we're looking at this very good support area here that we just got into and had a large bounce off. So still looking at this as being a back test, maybe getting a reaction off of it now, holding the 200, maybe looking for a couple days of consolidation onto that 200, holding and then retracing higher. Now this one is the tail that wags the dog, right? So this is what we've been talking about. This looks like a clear impulse wave down. And I do believe this is near or done as that impulse. And now we're going to go down to the 65. We had that potential head and shoulder here, clearly played out. That was going along with our trend line. That looked like a great setup. It did not work out. We actually went lower. So now we're building a channel here. See if the channel works out. This is the important indice that we'll be looking at. This channel, if this breaks out from this channel, then we're talking about higher retracement. So we'll see how this ends up with SPY. Now, again, this looks like to me a 1, 2, and then wave 3, complete one of these lows. Wave 4, which was a 382 retracement, worked out perfect. And then we're looking for a 5-wave move down here. And again, it's difficult to see what kind of price action happened in these gaps. So getting to extreme lows, this looks like a potentially a good channel, but we're gonna have to form some market structure. So this would be a good spot to, we're backtesting here, but price could get a little bit higher. That's a good resistance here. Pull back, possibly even a little bit lower, or getting our higher low, which I think that's a little bit more probable there, and forming some sort of inverse head and shoulder or some sort of setup here to where we break out from the channel. And if this, again, the retracements, if this wants to be a larger degree retracement, as this an A, B, C, into a larger degree A, then we probably see a pullback, a back test of this channel, and then a new high up here. So that's what we're looking at. And here's what it looks like on our Fibonacci Elliott wave. So I have this drawn out like this, but this potentially, if this keeps on going, we can go to 50% or so. I think it's more likely that we just, test that gap, not necessarily closing it, doing something like this. I was just playing around with this earlier. So I think it's more likely into time factors that this sort of plays out, 50% or 60%. That would give us a breakout, and either we go down, continue lower, or what I would be looking for is a deeper retracement at that point to 786 or even possibly even 887. All right. So that's what we're looking at there. And then now we're just going to peak. We spent so much time on there. We're just IWM, just a massive, massive move to the downside, straight down. And whenever I said things don't move straight down, well, that's straight down. So we'll see how that ends up. This should retrace as well. We're not playing IWM or DIA. I still do have Boeing. And by the way, those the trades that I put out for the members, those trades are already back into profit after this bounce here. So it was solid to have those plays. They were great setups, and I'm still holding on to those. It was the indices themselves that broke down tremendously, and big tech. If you're holding any of those, I'm not playing any tech plays right now. GIA breaking down from different levels, hasn't quite made a new low yet, but again, straight line. Is this corrective ABC, or is this some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there for an impulse down? We'll see. This could be a 1, 2, 3 and just looking for a bounce and going lower as well. That could give us some volatility with the market if these start to diverge. So that's why we pay attention to these, because if this wants to go lower, but the Qs are dragging, the market into a bounce and things like that, that's what we keep our eye out for. VIX. And we're going to look at this in the weekly. This was just a huge move in the VIX. I didn't think it would go that far so quick, but it did. We got new highs here. Clearly, we're setting up a new trend. So now I think that this pulls back and we start to make new highs on the VIX as well. So that would be very bearish for the market. But as this drags down, the market could see just like I said last time, I was talking about this candle, though. We didn't make a new high yet. I'm looking for a back test at this point. Is it done? I don't know, but this huge wick, potentially a reversal candle, could send us back to a back test of this wedge here, and that would be a great setup if and when that happens to go higher and the market go much lower. That's what I got for you guys. Hope this helps. Have a wonderful day. We will talk to you tomorrow.